of which I am president. I'm going to tell you about some research that we've done together with the forestry and agronomy centres in Florence, and looking at possible alliances, as the speaker said, between agriculture and architecture. When I was president of the committee, there was a study carried out by a committee in the Order, and it's made up of 9 colleagues. It's called the DAS committee. And our starting point was figures that you all are familiar with. 45% of energy produced in Europe is used in building. 50% of pollution is because of the building sector. 50% of resources are used in the building sector. 70% of waste are due to the building sector. 90% of building materials are from chemical products or oil products. I don't know how many molecules a year are ejected into the atmosphere by the sector. We're seeing more and more miraculous materials, but sometimes they have side effects that we hadn't known about. If you look at the agriculture farming sector, that's becoming increasingly globalized and is more vulnerable to financial crises and quota systems as well. You know that some types of farming do well for a few years and then experience crises. And then with climate change, climate events are becoming more dramatic. That can create problems for the food industry. There are economic problems, tax pressure on countries such as Italy. So if you start to abandon agriculture, then you abandon certain parts of land, and that has to a certain number of consequences as well. You know, even beautiful postcard landscapes are being lost. The Common Agricultural Policies provides incentives for a certain number of practices. So we need to think about a world in which countryside will become a new way to create building materials. We were in Expo as well, and it was Expo in Milan. Milan, of course, is known for business, for factories. So how can you think of the field or the countryside as being a new factory to produce building materials? But we tried to show how that would be possible. So the research has yielded a certain number of results and is focused in 2 particular areas. One, no food agriculture. This is a very delicate topic because we know that it's quite controversial. And it links up with energy and gas sectors as well. And then for agro-food waste, there are a lot of waste products that could actually be used for design and for architecture. We've seen some first results from this research. A lot of you were actually present when we presented that. We had a day when we invited guests from all over Italy, startups, inventors, professors, environmental activists, everyone working on these kind of topics. There were actually 2 days because one was on building materials and one was on design, biopolymers, and other types of material that can be created from waste from agricultural products. For example, artichokes are 80% of it is usually thrown away. Only 20% is eaten. Tomatoes and other products as well. And we looked particularly at products that belong to the Tuscan landscape. We produce wine, so there are the vines. So we tried to keep a local perspective. We wanted to focus on our own region. And we looked at some inputs that could come from the region. Now, of course, now we would like to look at more European level. And then, of course, we'd have to ensure that this could be accepted by member states and other regions. You can't really read it very well from here, but our work was looking particularly at certain indications. In Tuscany, we have guidelines for sustainable development from 2005. They need to be renewed now because the legislation in Tuscany on building is not up to date. In the guidelines, we also wanted to provide incentives for products coming from agriculture. Of course, it's going to be difficult to give up certain materials. Just one more minute. Ethical purchases. Perhaps we could introduce this idea into public procurement or tender as well. We're working with people who draw up rules for public tenders. Here is a link to the website where you can find all of this information. There are summaries and minutes of 2 days of work. I can't sum it up in 5 minutes. And then on the last slide, you have my email address if you have any thoughts you'd like to share or any suggestions for our research. The research is continuing this year. We're in phase 2. We're trying to provide numbers to all of this. There is a market, but we need to quantify it so that we can move from the agricultural side and see exactly how many hectares of fields and of land we'd need to produce what is required. Thank you.
Grazie mille Egidio Raimondi per questo intervento.
Thank you very much, Egidio Raimondi, for that. That was an extraordinary summary of fantastic work. So